Hi folks, welcome to the Prepared Homestead. This is Travis. Thank you all for stopping by to watch. Out doing some crew wrecking. Can't see them too much up there, but some of the boys and men of the tribe are out stretching their legs. If you think that you can't do it for whatever reason, some of you just may not absolutely be able to, but I suspect that there's a lot of you that can do this more than you think. This morning we've got a 70-plus-year-old man out with us. We've got another man in his 60s that's had an organ transplant a few years back. And he's out here, full kitted, heavy pack, 6.5 miles. So, and then we also have some boys, and just need to get out and do this kind of stuff. It's good for your health. You learn some things. You get used to being out here where you may have to do dangerous things someday in the future. So I want to encourage you to do that. Anyways, so lots of bad stuff going on in the world. There's your news brief. Bad things happening. World's ending. Anyways, a lot of stuff is going on in the Middle East, and it's not looking good. And I have said this since the beginning, that I suspect there's way more to it than just another Middle Eastern conflict. I think that this has very much so to do with a global war, New World Order, World Economic Forum kind of reset thing. And this is just going to push us further down that road. I don't really think that probably any of you even question that anymore. But the worry is that there's so much happening. It's so intense. It's happening so rapidly. And it is bringing out some intense emotions from people. You know that in the last couple of weeks, there's been some of the largest protests in human history over this. In some cities, there's been hundreds of thousands of people out protesting. Some of the largest in those particular cities. London and different places in Germany and Sweden, Stockholm, Spain, France, Italy, of course the United States, Canada, Australia. I think, and this is just an opinion, but much like we've seen with, say, the George Floyd stuff and all that, that the protests are probably meant to distract us. And that may just be like, oh, thanks, Captain Obvious. But it's worse than just a distraction. Because it's getting everyone away from the target, away from what's going on. It builds this emotion, it divides us. It's creating such a intense, I can't think of the right word right now, but just an intense situation with humans, not just Americans, but everyone, to where they're, well, we can't be friends now that I know that you don't support X or Y. And, sorry, you're not coming for Thanksgiving dinner because I saw your Twitter post about X or Y. And that's a bad thing. That weakens us. But also, when I see this kind of stuff intensify, it makes me not just believe, but know that there's probably something pretty big around the corner or that's being worked on behind the scenes. And while I still believe that the actual Middle East conflict could definitely expand into a global war and drag us into it, I think that there's also bigger things that's going on. And I know I'm sounding very vague. Probably, what? It sounds like you're beating around the bush. Just get to the point. Well, that is the point. I don't know what it is. I mean, we can all speculate what it is that they're doing. It has something to do with their Agenda 2030 plan. I mean, specifically, I don't know. But we know it's happening. And the speed and intensity at which things are moving are just, it's astonishing, I think. I've said this so many times. I think I said it in a video yesterday. I can't remember exactly. I'm pausing. The guys up front are stopping to look at something. So I want to protect their identities. Back when Joe Biden, and I'm not going to look this up for the video. You can either trust me or disbelieve me. But back when Joe Biden won the election, but before he took office, there was an interview by someone with the WEF or UN or whatever with John Kerry. And they asked, because of Joe Biden's age and concerns about that and cognitive abilities even back then, was he capable of carrying out the Great Reset Agenda 2030? And John Kerry's response is that I think you will be surprised at the speed and intensity at which things move. The speed and intensity. Think of how much has changed in the last couple of years. Speed and intensity, folks. A lot of stuff has happened. We went from a economically fairly sound, I mean, yes, lots of debt, but low inflation, and, interest rates were low, and, cost of living was pretty low, and people were buying houses, and the world was pretty peaceful for the most part, to where it's absolutely chaotic in 2 years. Do you think that's really a coincidence? It's not. It's all part of the plan for speed and intensity to push this agenda. And so when I see things that are happening like right now over the last couple of weeks, we had this, although we had this back when Russia invaded Ukraine, but I don't think it was quite as intense. I mean, certainly people were emotional about it and everyone was waving their flags and putting it on their profile pages. But I don't believe it didn't feel like it was quite this intense. And so each time it's becoming more and more to push us further down the path. And so each time this happens, there are things that are going on behind the scenes that are just, we're sinking. And the ship is sinking more and more rapidly. And so at what point, when one of these happens, that the US dollar collapses, or that, there's some kind of massive bank run because a bunch of banks fail, or someone accidentally pushes the wrong button and drops a nuke somewhere, there's all these possibilities, right in the midst of all this, some new novel virus pops up out of nowhere and kills off tens of millions of people. We have to understand that this is the possibility of what's going on, because it seems so strange that all of this that's happened has happened the way it is. And I mean, I could be wrong, but I think that there's a whole lot more going on, and I know that most of you agree with that. So the point to all of this is that we have to be prepared, not just for what's happening in the moment. Man, that sun, sorry, get over here, maybe it's better. There we go. Not just what's happening in the moment that we can see with our own eyes, but we also have to be prepared for what could happen that we're not aware of happening. Maybe it hasn't happened yet, so we don't know that, but it could be happening and we're not aware of it. So it makes our job of staying prepared more difficult. I don't know if I'm even making any sense. You ever have these ideas in your head, and then when they get to your lips, you're like, that doesn't sound right. This is one of those times. But we have to be prepared for that, so it's not just it's not just that you're preparing for the next possible, tornado, or if the tornado's coming right at you, so the tornado's coming at you, so you're taking immediate preparations for that. You also have to be prepared that if in the midst of the tornado, something falls and breaks your leg, and so you got a tornado coming through, and now you're laying there with a broken leg. That's the point. And so when these things get more and more intense with more regular intervals, we should be on guard and ready that at some moment something else will happen. And we may not know about it, not for a while. It could be months down the road, and then we're like, wait a minute, how'd that happen? Oh, yes. It's just saw, and this isn't a great example, but it's an example. Tyson Foods is teaming up with like the country's largest bug manufacturer to somehow put their bug juice or their bug powder or their bug protein in some of Tyson's stuff to increase the healthy level of their food. So, the question is are you going to be eating bugs when you slice into that turkey breast from Tyson? Who knows? Like the other day when I talked to you about the largest ammunition manufacturer in the country gets bought up. Is that going to affect things? Who knows? But it just happens, and no one pays attention to it. And I think it's, again, because everyone is so hyped up emotionally over certain things that it's not even whether they're important or not. It's just it's happening, and maybe you can't do anything about it. So you allow yourself to get hyper focused on that, and you forget that there's a million other things that are going on. So I guess to wrap up my rambling, because I feel at this point that's what I'm doing, we need to be prepared for all the things that's going to happen. We know, as many of you have been paying attention to stuff for the last few years, this Agenda 2030 plan, we know it's going to get worse because they tell us all the stuff that they're going to do. And we know it's not done yet. We also know it's going to get worse because most of you, like myself, have read the Bible a few times. And so as bad as things seem right now, they're going to get worse. And that's not being all doomsday. That's not fear porning or anything like that. It's how it is. It's going to get worse. And so we have to get ourselves ready for that and not allow the worsening threat to bring us down. Don't let it bring you down emotionally. This is just the path that must be taken right now. And the best that you and I can do is just ready ourselves, our families, and our tribes for it. Be stocking up, learning things, developing skills, getting out, getting in shape, building relationships. These are all really important things that need to be done right now. Anyways, I'll get off of here. Probably most of you had stopped watching by now because of my ramblings. Get your houses in order, folks. You know the things. Prepare mentally, physically, and spiritually. I think I'll go ahead and mention this. If you're needing to stock up on anything food-wise, go to preparedhomestead.com. Yes, it's an affiliate. Yes, I get a little bit out of it, but it's good products, and it helps my family, and it helps our community. So preparedhomestead.com. All right. Signing off. Catch you in the next video.